Should I pay off my mortgage weekly, fortnightly, or monthly? Well, the internet is full of stories telling me that if I just pay off my mortgage weekly, then I will save tens of thousands of dollars in interest and will be mortgage-free faster. But is it true? I'm Ed, an economist here at Opus Partners, and this is Property Now. So let's say I have a $500,000 mortgage and I'm paying a 7% interest rate over 30 years. Well, my monthly repayment is going to be about $3,300 a month, and I'm going to pay almost $700,000 in interest over those 30 years. Well, that's a lot of interest. So I might think, how can I save some money on that? Well, let's add on a new scenario. Again, we're going to have the same loan, same interest rate, and same length of the mortgage, except this time, let's make it fortnightly. Well, we're now going to pay interest of, well, hang on, it's still almost $697,000. Okay, my repayment's lower, but I've only saved about $550 in interest over 30 years. That's $18 a year or about 35 cents a week. Okay, well, surely I'll save way more money if I pay weekly then, right? Well, let's add it in. We're going to duplicate that scenario, calculate it, and put it on weekly. We find, again, the total interest we'll pay in 30 years is, again, almost $700,000. Now, according to this calculator, if I pay my mortgage weekly rather than monthly, I'm going to save $787 in interest over 30 years, $26 a year, or 50 cents a week. Well, that's not what the internet told me was going to happen, so why is it that people say that paying your mortgage weekly is cheaper? Well, it all comes down to the case of the missing mortgage payment. Well, where people get it wrong is they think there are 12 months in a year and about 4 weeks in a month, so that's 48 weeks in a year. But there are actually 52 weeks in a year. So if I pay my mortgage weekly, I'll make the equivalent of 13 monthly payments. It's like an extra monthly mortgage payment per year. But that's not actually the way it works, because it turns out banks are pretty good at math. So banks know that there aren't 4 weeks in a month. In fact, there is actually on average 4.33 weeks in a month. And that's why they change your mortgage repayment. So if you look at those payments that we talked about before, yes, if you pay fortnightly instead of weekly, your mortgage payment is twice the size. If you pay fortnightly, it's 2 weeks, so your mortgage payment is twice the size. There are 4.33 weeks within a month, so if you decide to pay your mortgage monthly, then your monthly repayment is 4.33 times what your weekly repayment is going to be. So it's not true that your monthly repayment is only 4 times what your weekly repayment is. So let's be really clear. If you walk into the bank and say, can I pay my mortgage weekly instead of monthly? They'll say, okay, but it won't save you a ton of money in interest. So why does this myth continue? Well, just before we get into that, if you like learning about property and money in this data-based way, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We release new videos every Monday and Wednesday. If you look closely at some of the articles I mentioned before, they tell you to cut your monthly mortgage repayment into 4 and then pay that amount weekly. Now, if we applied that to the example we were using before, instead of paying $767 a week, would instead pay $832 a week. That's a quarter of our minimum monthly repayment. Now, when you're using a calculator online, you can just play around with the term, i.e. how long it takes you to pay off the mortgage, in order to get down to a quarter of the monthly repayment. Now, if we do that, we would then be paying off our mortgage in 23 years and 8 months. And so doing that strategy, we would be saving 6 years and 4 months and getting out of debt way earlier. And then we'd be paying only $523,000 in interest. And look, we'd be saving just over $174,000 in interest. Now that is significant. But you didn't save money because you decided to pay your mortgage weekly. It's that you paid an extra $60 or $70 a week towards your mortgage. That's what saved you in interest. And that's what meant you could pay off your mortgage over 6 years early. It's not the fact that you paid it off weekly. So don't walk into your bank and say, Mr. Banker, I want to pay my mortgage off weekly. That does almost nothing. Walk in and say, I'd like to pay off my mortgage an extra $60 or $70 quicker a week. Even if you pay it monthly, you can just increase your monthly repayment because that's what saves you money, not the fact that you pay it off weekly, fortnightly, monthly. Guys, the only way to pay off your mortgage faster is to make extra repayments. And right now, there are a lot of people online saying that there are lots of special tricks you can use, revolving credits, offset accounts, pay your mortgage off weekly. Now, all of these strategies, they do work a wee bit. They could save you a couple of $100 over 30 years, 50 cents a week. But to pay off your mortgage 3, 5, 10 years early, to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest, you have to make extra repayments. That is just the maths of it. And sometimes you'll get scam artists, people looking for clicks, follows, likes, and social media attention. They'll say things like this.
If you make $1 payment per day, it goes up. First day you make a payment, it goes, oh shit, back down to zero. Make another payment the next day, $1, oh, it goes down to zero. If you do that for 30 days, the end of that 30 days, that mortgage payment that you make will be 100%, 100, on the capital that you have on that loan. You will pay a big fat zero in interest.
It's false advertising. It's wrong, and actually it's harmful because right now, while interest rates are high, people are struggling. They're looking at increasing mortgage payments, they're struggling with the cost of living, and they're thinking, can't I just catch a break? And some of these people online, they're trying to lure you in with lies and half-truths. Now, if you want to get some advice that you can actually trust, check out our website, opuspartners.co.nz, because here at Opus, we've got mortgage advisors who can help you get a loan from the bank and help you set it up the right way so you can pay it down quicker.